Good morning. It's about 7 a.m. Monday morning. What is it? February 24. I am at a Love's truck stop near New Florence, Missouri. I'm about 60 miles from my delivery. It's going to be rough today, probably. We'll see. The map of the address, what it looks like on the map, it does not look like a good place for trucks to be driving around. I am supposed to call the customer in a little bit and ask them about directions, and I can see why. We'll see what they say. Any of the options that I see none of them look good. So we'll see what happens. But I've realized I haven't made a video for a long time. I thought I had recorded something and I just hadn't put it together, but I just checked my footage and I don't seem to have made. I must have thought about it once, but never did actually. I am going to try to keep it reasonably short because nobody likes long drawn out videos, I don't think, but just mention a few things that have happened and try to move on and try to focus on something that's interesting, I guess. I can't remember everything that's happened, obviously, since I don't even remember when I think the last video I made, everything blends together. I often can't remember what day it is or what state I'm in, so I'm not like keeping great track of all of that. I do remember I had an episode where I got stuck in Canada for 2 days. I went up to Sault Ste. Marie, which is the north of Michigan. Crossed over just over the border. There's a steel plant there. I was supposed to pick up a coil, picked it up, and had a delay in getting the paperwork to me that I needed to cross the border again. So I had 2 days there, and it was fairly snowy. It wasn't too terribly cold, not as cold as it could have been, but still a little interesting there. And then I feel like there was another trucking store. Oh, there was like some ice in South Carolina where I had a situation where I got stopped like literally a mile or two, maybe it was less than 2 miles away from delivery, and there was this one bridge that I had to go over, or I don't know if there was an alternate, but I got stuck just there because the ice, South Carolina doesn't do as well with ice. I don't think they're not as usually, it's not a normal thing for them, so they're not really very well prepared for it. And this particular patch of ice had stopped 2 trucks. One had slid off the road, and then another had tried to go around and slid into them. And I was glad that they both had gotten there before I had, because I would have tried exactly the same things they did. So I guess that trying to turn that into a learning experience of like what kind of ice is a definite no-go. And there was a third truck there that had slid off another patch a little bit lower down. And then by the time I figured out what was going on up there, I had gone up like an overpass, or started to head towards that issue, and then figured out that there was a problem. I didn't see the other trucks from before I made that turn, and then it got to the point. Well, I figured out I should not go forward, and then I looked at going backwards, and that wasn't a great idea either, because there was some ice that I had passed over. But yeah, I drive on. I mean, in the winter, and the winter is actually a lot longer than I thought. Like it seems like more than half, or like I don't know. It's a lot. A lot of the time you can encounter winter conditions in the country. So you kind of have to be able to drive on some level of bad weather, or else you're never going to go. Like, you can just park and wait for spring, but if you want to keep moving any kind of freight, I think you have to be able to deal with some less than ideal situations. But it's really hard to figure out like exactly when you should stop, because it's one of those things where you're safe until you're not, and it's a very thin line there that it's fine, and then you're off the road. And I pass a bunch of people every week that have gone off the road. So it's definitely something that happens, but try to take it easy. I sort of have I think I have a feel for when I'm losing traction. I have some kind of ideas about when ice is building up on the road based on ice building up on my windshield. Some stuff like that. I'm trying to gain experience, try not to push it too hard, but still need to keep moving when I can. But then I had just came off pretty recently came off a break. I went to L'Abri near Boston. It's in Southborough. It's a nice little Christian study center. Very relaxed, kind of very reasonably priced, and partly because it's like kind of you share rooms and you share chores, and then there's study time, and there's you do a little bit of work to help them keep the place running, and it's very comfortable. Oh, and lots of one of the big like foundational parts of it is meals together, and so they cook extremely amazing meals. They put together and they share them together, and it's a very nice, like, social, cultural, just a nice place to be. It'd be nice if more of the world was like that, but there are a few places like that you can go to that are nice. And I was glad to spend a week there. I made a couple of friends there, some of the people there. I'm hoping at least one or two might continue to be friends for a while. We'll see. I'd like to put some effort into that. It's something I have not done well in the past with. I tend to just leave and just kind of go my own way, and kind of the friends I meet along the way sometimes fade. And so I do need, that's one of the things I would like to improve in my life, is having better social connections. And let's see, so that was good. And that was up coming out of Boston, or out of the area. I just refer to it as like the nearest major city, but was a little bit cold. There was like a little bit of ice and snow here, and like it was different waves of snow would come in, and I got out on a nice little window where it had actually even gone above freezing. So when I got back to my truck, there was like a layers of slush and snow on the trailer, and I knew, like, I had this intuition, and I was glad I followed it. I cleared off the trailer deck right then and there. I was glad because the temperature was falling, and actually that night, right, like as I was finishing up, it started to freeze, and it would have been a lot harder to clean off the trailer deck. And I don't really think I could show up to a customer. I don't even know about going on the road with a trailer like that. I don't know. It could have been dangerous. I might throw off big ice chunks and stuff. That wouldn't have been good. So had a really good window for getting back on the road. A little bit of weather. Had a situation where going through New Jersey on the way back. New Jersey like closed their interstates to trucks, but there was no alternative. They didn't have like a plan for so what am I supposed to do? There's like no truck parking here. Like it all filled up, and I tried getting off onto a smaller road, and that was a disaster. It was terrible, dangerous, awful. The interstates were still passable. Like you had to be a little bit slow, but they were still a lot better than the small roads that I tried. So I got back on, and there were other people that were on too, because like there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to park, and they didn't have any suggestions. So I just needed to get through, unless I wanted to again sit and wait for spring. I needed to get through. So, and it seemed, at least, I mean, it seemed like it could, so I did. And then let's see, where the last major story that I just came off of is a fast. I noticed I had a slow weekend this past weekend. I noticed it a few days out that I was going to have it, and so I took the opportunity to do a fast. And I tried 3 days dry fast. That means no food, no water, nothing for 3 days. And it was definitely challenging. I was craving fruit and fruit juice for a lot of the time. One of the things I appreciate though about it is it seemed to is my intuitions, or what I wanted seemed to gravitate towards things that are healthy. So I didn't want like soda or chips. I wanted fruit, vegetables, or yeah, like good healthy food. And that might have been helped by having just been at Labrie, where I had some good experiences with good food. But yeah, it seemed like a good mental and spiritual exercise as well. A little bit tough, but I think I had a time to gain some perspective and think about doing some things better. I do want to improve my nutrition. I am going through a nutrition course on the Peterson Academy. There's another one I have lined up as well. May touch on that. And then I do want to do better at being more healthy, because that is wealth. Health is wealth for me. Nothing else even comes close, I don't think. Spiritual health as well, but like physical health too. Like you can't. There's no money you can pay for that. I mean, there's people that try, but really, it's better to just be healthy. It's hard to do. There are many confounding variables, things that are not helping so much in that regard in our culture right now. Hopefully, it'll start getting a little bit better. There's some people in power that are interested in helping us make that better, but we also have to do our own part and seek out the good. So I need to learn to cook and make some sort of system work for the truck. I have a terrible disorganized mess in the back that I could use a lot better, and I could conceivably either have somebody shop for me or go take an Uber and shop once in a while, or find a way to park at Walmart's, or some way, somehow figure out a way to be a bit more healthy. So I think my next 2 Hometime, I'm scheduling like 6 or 7 weeks at a time, but I think the next 2 will have a strong component of being interested in health. And then let's see, I do want to also, one of the things I've been thinking about is I'd like to develop something that is, I would like to have something in my life that I feel like I'm good at. And trucking is becoming one of those things. Like, doing it every day, I'm I'm gaining more skill. I'm definitely not, a 20-year veteran, but I'm appreciating the fact that I can get into some spaces that would have definitely intimidated me before. I don't necessarily like it when they require that I do wild stuff sometimes, but I'm able to handle a lot more manageably. But the other thing I want to focus on is photography. I've shown some talent, I guess, in that. People have liked the way I frame things for a while, and I feel like I could develop that talent and put more effort into it, learn more about photography, and I might actually be able to make some nice things. It's something I enjoy, so I think I will probably buy a camera at some point before too long, and or another, like one that's more for landscapes and stuff, because that's what I'm mostly interested in as far as photography. And maybe a drone at some point. We'll see. That's almost for sure, but just it's a matter of how long. I am trying to get to the point of being debt free. I'm hoping to do that by the summer. We'll see if that works out, but I think that's doable. But moving up, doing well. Still have challenges. My two biggest areas to improve are my health and social connections. So that's what I'm working on. I am spending a lot of time. I'm spending some time on Peterson Academy, trying to build connections and following using the courses as well. And I have an idea that I'm still trying to flesh out, and eventually I'll have to put it into action for a potential club or group. And I can see the video is not short like I said it would be. It's way too long already, so I guess I'll take a little spin around the load. It's not great. It's one of the things that keeps me from filming sometimes is things are not ideal. A lot of times I'm making decisions between, sometimes it feels like bad options, and it's not, or I don't know, like the load I have right now, I don't feel great about the tarp job, but the effort it would require to redo it would be pretty exorbitant, and it's not awful. Like there's just one little corner showing, and in an ideal world I would have caught it earlier, that was going to be an issue, and I would have fixed it earlier, but I didn't, and it seemed like it would probably be okay. And so it's not perfect, so we'll see. Take a look at it. Spin the camera around. So this is early morning out the windshield. Let's go take a look at the load. I think it's vinyl fencing. It's not very heavy. It's all packaged in these like 2x4 kind of crate things with pallets on the bottom. And there's the awful little bit of pallet showing. It didn't seem like it would be that bad because it is vinyl fencing. It's probably not terribly fragile to begin with. And then it's wrapped. It has its own little wrapping on itself. And so the tarp is mostly just to take the brunt of the like road debris, I guess, and the wind and all that for a trip. And you can see I tried to calm it down. Like it's one of those things where it's like a couple of steps down, and it's kind of awkward to get a tarp on correctly. So I tried to pin it down as best I could with straps on the outside. Especially the two most important ones are at the junctions between the tarps, making sure they won't slip out. And then I double bungeed. I went through and like even this section, there's it's not double here, but it's double here because there's one here and one here. So I tried to do my best. It wasn't ideal, but I don't know. Sometimes making it ideal, I don't don't know. That would have been another 4 hour. I don't know. It would have been a lot of time to do. It didn't seem. It was just a little corner with a little bit of a palette exposed. Didn't seem bad. So, hopefully, yeah, we'll see how today goes, and hopefully I'll start making shorter videos. It won't be this one. I do need to aspire to that, but maybe it'll be next one. We'll see. Maybe if I do them more often, I can make them shorter and sweeter. I do think people would appreciate that, and I guess we'll see how it goes moving forward.